Welcome to the first module of the MAIA Business Development Programme. I'm delighted you're here. Whether you're joining as an innovator, a researcher, or a project lead, this is the starting point for turning your idea into a real world solution with measurable impact. Over the coming sessions, we'll be focusing on bridging the gap between research outputs and market-ready offerings. And this module, Module 1, will help you assess where your innovation stands today, clarify the problem you're solving, and articulate a clear, compelling value proposition. This is about building a strong foundation, so one that will make your business planning, funding strategy, and your future pitch far more effective. We've designed this program for early stage innovators, so whether your concept is still in development or already tested, the tools and approaches we'll use can help you move forward with confidence. As you go through this module, keep your own innovation in mind. Everything that we're going to cover is intended to be applied directly to your context. So let's get started on the journey from innovation to impact. This slide outlines the journey we're going to take in Module 1, from understanding where your innovation stands today to preparing the foundations for future business planning. We'll start with an introduction to the innovation journey, setting the context for why moving from concept to impact requires both technical readiness and a clear value proposition. Next, we'll explore technology readiness levels, a standardized framework for gauging how mature your innovation is and what steps are needed to advance it. From there, we'll move into clarifying problem-solution fit, making sure your innovation is addressing a well-defined and meaningful problem. Building on that, we'll work on the value proposition design, using practical tools to articulate the unique benefits you offer to your target audience. Then we'll bring these concepts to life through a case example, the Sony Wood Cooperative, showing how these principles play out in the real world. Finally, we'll close with next steps and further exploration, giving you practical actions to carry forward. Think of this as a roadmap and your guide to turning ideas into impactful, market-ready solutions. Okay, let's start with an introduction to the innovation journey. This program is designed to build the capacity of innovators from Horizon-funded climate projects, so they can bring their solutions into the real world. Many promising ideas don't reach their full potential, not because they lack technical merit, but because they lack a business plan or a funding strategy or the ability to pitch effectively. Through the MAIA Business Development Program, we're going to change that. Module 1 focuses on establishing a strong foundation, assessing the maturity of your innovation using the technology readiness level framework, clarifying the problem solution fit, and identifying exactly who your solution is for and why it matters. This sets the stage for later modules where you'll develop a business model, explore funding pathways, and refine your pitch. Whether your goal is to create a spin-out company, license your work, or influence policy, the principles you'll learn here apply. Think of this as the essential first step in shaping a compelling, credible case for your innovation, one that can attract the right partners, funders, customers to help you achieve that impact at scale. Early stage innovators like you face a range of common challenges, and acknowledging them is the first step towards overcoming them. One of the biggest is an unclear or untested problem solution fit. If the link between the problem you're solving and the solution you offer isn't obvious, it'll be hard to convince stakeholders to engage. Another issue is low or ambiguous TRL. Funders and partners need confidence that your innovation is ready for the stage you claim it's at. Many innovators also struggle to identify their first viable market, making it difficult to generate momentum. Value proposition uncertainty can undermine your ability to communicate why your solution matters. And without a business or funding strategy, great ideas often stall. Transitioning from research to market delivery can feel like a huge leap, requiring new skills and new mindsets. But the good news is that each of these challenges can be addressed systematically. Over the course of this program, we're going to equip you with tools, frameworks, and real-world examples to help you refine your value proposition, identify your first market, and build a credible plan moving forward. While the challenges are very real, Early stage innovators also have advantages that maybe more established businesses often lack. So you have the freedom to adapt and shape your solution before you've really committed to a fixed model or heavy investment. And there's a growing global demand for climate and nature-based solutions, creating receptive markets and funding opportunities. Support infrastructure from things like accelerators and incubators to EU innovation networks, it's more accessible than it ever has been, offering mentorship, facilities, and collaboration spaces. You can tap into cross-project synergies, sharing resources, knowledge, and market access with others tackling similar challenges. Innovation from unusual angles is another strength. Interdisciplinary thinking or unconventional problem solving can differentiate you in a crowded field. And finally, global policy shifts on climate and biodiversity alongside corporate sustainability commitments means that the timing is right. If you position your innovation well, you can align with this momentum and open doors to new partnerships and investments. This module is going to help you recognize and leverage these opportunities so you can move more confidently towards impact. Before we can plan how to scale or commercialize an innovation, we need to understand how ready it actually is. And that's where technology readiness levels, or TRLs, come in. This framework helps you assess how far along your innovation is from early concept to full deployment. It's widely used by funders and policymakers, so getting familiar with it will help you position your work more strategically. Let's take a closer look at what the different levels mean and where your project might sit. Technology readiness levels, or TRLs, are a standardized way of assessing how mature an innovation is, from a basic idea through to a full market deployment. The concept originated in aerospace and defense, but it's now widely used in research, innovation, and funding contexts, including EU Horizon programs. TRLs help innovators, funders, and evaluators speak the same language when discussing project maturity. At the lowest levels, you might have a concept or principle with early stage validation in a lab. Mid-level TRLs involve prototypes and pilots tested in relevant environments. The highest TRLs reflect fully operational, market-ready solutions deployed in real-world conditions. Understanding your TRL is important because it shapes your development priorities, funding options, and partnership opportunities. For example, early TRL projects might focus on technical validation and proof of concept funding, while later TRLs may target scaling and market entry support. In this module, we're going to explore how to identify your TRL and use that insight to plan the right next steps towards commercialization or implementation. This slide presents a visual overview of the TRL scale, illustrating the journey from concept to deployment. Each step represents a stage of increasing maturity, from fundamental research at TRL 1 through to a fully proven operational system at TRL 9. It's a useful tool for pinpointing exactly where your innovation sits today. The visual shows how the nature of work changes over time. Early stages are focusing on theoretical research, while later stages prioritize real-world validation, scaling, and operational integration. Understanding these transitions can help you anticipate the resources, testing, and partnerships you'll need as you advance. Alongside the diagram, we've provided worksheet 1, the TRL self-assessment. This is your opportunity to map your innovation against the TRL framework, identifying evidence for your current level and gaps that might need addressing. Be honest in your assessment. An accurate TRL rating is far more valuable than an inflated one, as it ensures you target the right funding, partnerships, and development milestones for your stage. So, looking at the self-assessment activity, you're going to be applying the TRL framework to your own innovation using the MAIA TRL self-assessment worksheet. The goal is to give you a clear, evidence-based view of where you are today so you can make informed decisions about your next steps. So start by reviewing the definitions for each TRL in the handout. Identify the statements or criteria that best describe your current progress. For example, have you tested your idea in a lab environment, in the field, or with actual end users? Where possible, link your answers to tangible evidence such as test reports, prototype data, or user feedback. This exercise isn't just about assigning a number, it's about surfacing the proof points and the gaps. So once you've completed your self-assessment, reflect on what it would take to move to the next TRL. This will feed directly into later modules where we'll work on aligning your business planning, funding strategy, and market approach with your readiness level. Before we can talk about business models or funding, we need to make sure your innovation is going to solve an actual, clearly defined problem. And this is often where we see great ideas stumble. So in this section, we're going to focus on clarifying the problem your solution addresses and for whom. Problem solution fit is about ensuring that your innovation genuinely addresses a clearly defined problem experienced by a specific group of users or beneficiaries. Too often, innovators focus on the elegance of their solution without really deeply validating whether the problem is significant enough or perceived as urgent enough to warrant adoption. Achieving problem solution fit requires both evidence of the problem's importance and proof that your approach is capable of resolving it better than alternatives. This involves engaging with potential users early, gathering qualitative insights through interviews or observations, and testing assumptions about their needs. The more closely your solution aligns with the real world challenges your audience faces, the stronger your foundation will be for developing a compelling value proposition. Without this fit, even the most technically advanced innovation will struggle to gain traction. Once you have a working hypothesis about your problem solution fit, the next step is to test and validate it. What are some practical ways to do that? Well, testing can happen at any TRL stage, from simple concept sketches tested in focus groups to pilot deployments in the field. Validation means you're gathering feedback and data that confirm your solution works in the context for which it was designed. This might involve controlled experiments or prototype trials or perhaps user surveys. But importantly, validation should also compare your approach to current solutions or competitor offerings, showing where you add distinctive value. Be open to discovering that your initial assumptions need refining. This is a normal part of the innovation process. The aim isn't really to prove you're right from the start, to learn quickly and adjust. Strong validation not only improves your design, it also builds credibility with funders, partners, and early adopters who want to see evidence before they actually commit. Early adopters play a crucial role in the success of any innovation, particularly in its formative stages. They are individuals or organizations willing to try something new before it's widely proven, often motivated by curiosity or a desire to stay ahead or alignment with the innovation's purpose. Their feedback is invaluable. It provides real world insights that can help you refine your solution, address unforeseen challenges, and strengthen your offering. Building strong relationships with these early adopters is really essential. It means engaging openly, listening actively to their experiences, and responding to their suggestions. Trust and rapport here can lead to collaborative problem solving and continuous improvement. Moreover, early adopters are often influential within their networks. When they have positive experiences, they suddenly become advocates, helping to build momentum and credibility for a broader market adoption. Their endorsement can significantly shorten the path from niche acceptance to mainstream uptake. For you, this means identifying, nurturing, and valuing early adopters is not just a step in your market journey, it's a strategic advantage that can accelerate your innovation success. So now we're going to move on to value proposition design. How do we do that? What are the foundations and the application of that? So basically, your value proposition is the absolute heart of your business model. Everything stems from it. It's the clear statement of the benefits your innovation delivers and why someone should choose it over alternatives. So here we're going to introduce the concept of value proposition design as a structured approach to defining and refining that statement. A strong value proposition connects directly to the problem solution fit we've just explored, translating it into language that resonates with your target customers or beneficiaries. It should address the key pains that you help them overcome and the gains that you help them achieve. The value proposition canvas, which we'll use shortly, breaks this down into two sides: understanding your customers' jobs, pains, and gains, and mapping how your product or service acts as a pain reliever and gain creator. By making these connections explicit, you can more easily test, adapt, and strengthen your offer. This is a tool that you're going to return to frequently as you develop your business model, your marketing strategy, and your pitch materials. It's not a static thing, it's something that will evolve as your business evolves. So before you can craft a compelling value proposition, you need a really clear picture of who you're serving. It's important to identify customer segments and understand their jobs to be done, the tasks, problems, or goals that they are trying to achieve. These jobs can be functional, social, or emotional, and each offers opportunities for innovation. Think beyond demographics and consider the deeper motivations and context driving your audience's decisions. For example, a municipality installing green roofs, they're not just buying plants, they may be aiming to reduce heat stress, meet environmental targets, or improve urban aesthetics. Understanding these drivers allows you to design solutions and messages that speak directly to what matters most. This insight is going to feed into your value proposition canvas to ensure that your solution is tightly aligned with your customers' real priorities, not just what you assume they want. So let's have a closer look at what the actual business, the value proposition canvas looks like. So we're moving now into the core of it. We're looking at mapping pains, gains, and solutions. Pains are, I guess, negative experiences, potential risks or obstacles your customers face in achieving their jobs to be done. Gains are the positive outcomes or benefits they desire. On the other side of the canvas, you list your products or services and detail how they act as pain relievers and gain creators. The aim here is to create clear one-to-one links between customer needs and what you're offering. This exercise kind of forces us to think critically about whether our innovation genuinely delivers what your audience values and whether you're communicating that effectively. It's really common here to discover gaps where pains are unaddressed or gains could be strengthened, and that's a great opportunity to refine your offer or adjust your messaging. It's crucial to be really specific and evidence-based here when you're mapping, as this will make your value proposition way more compelling to funders and partners and customers down the line. So we also have a value proposition worksheet for you, and this is where you're going to put that theory into practice. So use the value proposition canvas template that we're providing as part of this program. Start by filling out the customer profile, defining your customer segments, listing their key jobs, identifying their pains and describing their desired gains. Then you move on to the value map. That's where you outline your products or services, you're describing the pain relievers you provide and the gains that you're going to help create. Be super honest about what you can deliver now versus what might be part of your future roadmap. The goal here is really alignment. The more your value map matches the priorities in your customer profile, the stronger your value proposition. Once you've completed this value proposition canvas, review it for clarity and focus. So could someone unfamiliar with your innovation understand its value at a glance? This completed canvas will be a cornerstone for the modules that follow, guiding your business model development, your funding strategy, and your pitch. So this is a living document. It should evolve as you learn more about your market and as you test your assumptions. So we're going to move on now to the case example of the Sonian Wood Cooperative. So this is a really brilliant example of how innovation doesn't always have to be really high tech. Sometimes it's just about rethinking systems and relationships. The Sonian Wood Cooperative, their core innovation lies in establishing a local cooperative to process and market timber harvested from the Sonian forest in Brussels. Instead of exporting raw logs or relying on complex global supply chains, they created a short, transparent, and ethical supply chain that keeps value local. This benefits forest managers, artisans, and the broader community. What makes their model particularly innovative is its alignment with circular economy principles. They transform locally harvested raw timber into high-value products like furniture, increasing resource efficiency and reducing waste. They also emphasize traceability and ethical sourcing, so every piece of wood has a known origin, which builds huge trust with their designers and their customers. Most importantly, their governance model is collaborative. It brings together public institutions, private sector actors, and nonprofits, sharing ownership and decision-making power. This approach ensures that multiple interests are represented and invested in the cooperative's success. It's a really great illustration of how local, nature-based solutions can be both commercially viable and socially inclusive. We're going to look at their problem solution fit. So this slide is illustrating the strong problem solution fit behind the Sonian Wood Cooperative. So we'll start with the problem. Despite being a valuable resource, timber from the Estonian forest was largely exported, meaning that the local economy saw very little benefit. At the same time, local designers and artisans and woodworkers were facing a shortage of affordable, high quality materials. So, transporting timber long distances also contributed to emissions and disrupted the potential for a circular local economy. The solution? Establishing a cooperative that could manage the entire supply chain from forest to finished product right within the region. By keeping the processing and marketing local, they were able to create a short, transparent supply chain that ensured consistent quality and fair pricing for everyone. This also helped to build trust with buyers who really valued that traceability and that ethical sourcing. But this is not just about logistics, it's about that collaboration piece. The cooperative is bringing together these forest managers and sawmills and designers and community stakeholders to create this shared value moment. This approach keeps economic benefits in the region while supporting sustainable forestry practices. It's a really great example of aligning environmental, economic, and social goals in a way that genuinely meets a need, which is the essence of a problem solution fit. So when we examined the Estonian Wood Cooperative, it was at TRL level 7. It has moved well beyond concept and early testing. Their model is demonstrated in an operational environment. Their value proposition is clear and refined. Initially, they defined their value around reliable, high quality woodland products sourced locally. That alone met a key need for designers and woodworkers, but they didn't actually stop there. As they engaged with stakeholders, they refined their value proposition to incorporate deeper benefits. So they looked at sustainability, they looked at reducing emissions from local sourcing, and support for local jobs. This evolution reflects what we've discussed in this module. A value proposition isn't static, it grows through feedback and iteration. The Estonian Wood Cooperative also tailored their messaging for different audiences. So, for example, for customers, they highlighted traceable origin and quality. For their partners, they focused on shared impact, being part of a visible, transparent system. And for funders, they connect their work to broader biodiversity and community outcomes. This multi-level alignment strengthens both their credibility and their appeal, which is why this is such a great example. And they've really balanced functional benefits with values-based impact, a model that many climate and nature-based innovations can learn from. So let's wrap up this case study first by highlighting a few really key lessons that are coming out of this story. First, innovation isn't always about inventing something new, inventing new technologies. Sometimes it's about applying existing approaches in a smarter, more impactful way. So the cooperative used well-known tools, timber, supply chains, collaboration, but brought them together in a really fresh, locally embedded model, which was unique at the time. Secondly, the continuous testing and refinement part were especially crucial. They didn't launch into the world with a perfect plan. They got feedback, they iterated, they responded, they adjusted their value proposition over time. And this adaptive mindset is essential for innovation to succeed in a complex real world setting. And thirdly, that honest self assessment of their technology readiness level really helped them make realistic decisions and secure appropriate support. This is a habit that we're really encouraging you to adopt throughout this program. Fourth, value propositions are not set in stone. They evolve as you get better and as you better understand your users and your market. The cooperative's messaging grew richer and more targeted as they engaged more stakeholders. And finally, messaging matters. Different audiences, customers, partners, funders, they care about different things. Tailor your communication so that you can make the difference between a good idea and a backed, supported, and scaled innovation. So to wrap up this module, we're going to talk about the next steps and what other tools that you can explore to deepen your understanding of the concepts within this module. So now that we've covered the foundations of innovation readiness, the problem solution fit, and value proposition design, your next step is to put these insights into action. So the first thing that you need to do is start by completing your value proposition worksheet. Use the process that we've covered here. So you're defining your offer, you're going to refine it based on customer needs, and you're going to tailor it for different stakeholders. And this is going to serve as the basis for your business messaging going forward. Then use the TRL ladder tool to self-assess your innovation's maturity. You need to be really realistic and evidence-based with this, and that then will help you to guide your funding and partnership strategy into the future. Then, importantly, identify who your early adopters might be. So who's most likely to engage with your solution early, and how can you approach them and gather insight or build a bit of momentum? And we also recommend testing at least one key assumption about your problem solution fit. This might be a feature, a user behavior, or a pain point, something that you're going to be able to validate through a small bit of experimentation. And then lastly, it's the importance of gathering feedback, maybe from someone in your network, maybe a potential user, partner, funder. Even a short conversation can uncover valuable insights. These small but focused actions will move your innovation one step closer to real world impact. If you're interested in diving a little bit deeper into the topics that we've covered in this module, there are several additional resources and tools available to support you on your learning. We have listed these in the as addendums to the worksheets. So first, we're including an optional TRL explainer video if you want more insights onto that, which kind of offers a concise visual overview of technology readiness levels and how to use them. If you want to take your value proposition further, we recommend exploring the Strategizer value proposition canvas. That provides really detailed templates and examples to help you refine your thinking, test your assumptions more systematically. We'd also encourage you to research your target market segment. So understand your users and their context is really essential for developing a solution that resonates. It would be great if you were able to see how other nature-based enterprises are positioning themselves. So we recommend checking out platforms like the Connecting Nature Enterprise Platform, Circle Made in Brussels, and innovation hubs like the Climate Change Mitigation Platform, Climate Innovation Window, and the EIT Climate Kick Innovation Marketplace. These resources offer really great examples and potential networking opportunities for you. And finally, remember, your value proposition is never finished. Keep refining it as you engage with your audience and learn from your market. The iterative mindset is key to long-term success. And just looking ahead to the next module, module 2, we're going to talk about routes to commercialization. So we're going to shift our focus from innovation readiness and value proposition design to exploring how you're going to take your idea to market. So what's your route to commercialization? We'll start looking at intellectual property, understanding what IP is, how does it apply to your innovation, and what options do you have for protecting and exploiting it. From there, we're going to have a look at different commercialization pathways, so ones that are relevant to this particular cohort, which include licensing, franchising, and open source models. Each of these routes has different implications depending on your goals, your technology readiness level, and your market context. We're going to help you think strategically about which route aligns best with your innovation, whether you're aiming for wide-scale adoption, targeted partnerships, or a hybrid approach. To support this, you'll begin working on your business pathway worksheet, which is a resource that comes with module 2. This is going to help you reflect on your preferred route, evaluate its fit, and start that process of planning the steps that you'll need to take to move you forward. By the end of module 2, you'll have a really clear picture of how your innovation can enter the market and what pathway gives you the best chance of achieving that meaningful, sustainable impact. So we'll see you in module 2.